Joining me, this is Michael Voss. I am the Dragon of the Southern Tier. I'm out at SUNY Broome. I want to show you. We're right at the front entrance of SUNY Broome, the college here in upstate New York in the Binghamton area. There is my sign. I know it may not be the best sign in the world. Oops. There we go. May not be the best sign in the world, but it is my sign, and I am standing here in front of SUNY Broome in Binghamton, New York. Why am I here? Why do I have this sign? Why am I protesting today, May 3rd? A protest that's starting at about 2:30. I'm here early, and will go on until 4:30. Even if I'm the only person that will show up, I'm going to stand here and I am going to protest. Something that the police, we've had faculty over at SUNY Broome, they already tried to stop me. They already tried to, wait a minute, I got a call coming in. Okay, first lesson, do not accept phone calls. All right, folks, so what was I saying? Why am I protesting? Why am I out here, even if I'm the only person, in front of SUNY Broome and letting people know that I'm protesting the critical race theory applications? I'm protesting what SUNY Broome is doing today, which is indoctrinating students in the university. They're using your tax dollars to teach children, to teach our students, the next generation, how to be racist, how to divide this nation by people based on the color of their skin. I don't agree with that. I do not believe in that. And even if I have to be the only one who's going to stand up to SUNY Broome and the professors here and make this statement known, I'm going to do it. And I know the news media knows about this. I've told all the news media for weeks now that I'm going to be here protesting. And I've asked them to tell you why I am protesting. And the answer is very simple. Because I don't believe in racism. I don't believe in dividing the United States of America based on someone's color of skin, or their sex, or their gender, or their sexual preference. And that is exactly what critical race theory and its applications do. That's what this racial justice deliberation that is happening today at SUNY Broome, that is exactly what they are here to do. They want to separate you. They want to divide America based on color of skin because it's part of a political agenda, because it gives power to a very elite few people in America. And I disagree with that. I think that's wrong. And I don't care if there's a lot of people or a few people. And I know there's a lot of people who, and I know there's a lot of people who've already told me they're afraid to come out right now. They're afraid of BLM. They're afraid of Antifa. They're afraid of the local progressive leaders of tomorrow, otherwise known as PLOT. That they're afraid these people may see that they're protesting and say, oh my God, what are they going to do to me? No, that's a threat. That is fear of a threat. And you know what? If they have to resort to violence, intimidation to try and silence you, to stop you, then they are wrong, and it shows how wrong they are. And that's why I'm here today, because I'm not going to let them intimidate me. As I said, I already had members of the faculty of SUNY Broome that have already tried to shut me down. They're scared of me. One black man holding a sign in front of SUNY Broome, and they tried to get the police to shut me down. They tried to silence my voice, to intimidate me from being able to share my opinion as an American citizen about the things they are doing with our tax dollars. Why would they do that if they knew they were right? If they knew they were doing the right thing? Because they know they're not doing the right thing. They're doing the thing that academics like. They're doing the thing that they can get away with by teaching our students anything and everything that they want. Anything that gives them power, gives their political party power. But that doesn't help the community. That isn't going to make people more aware of race or any race issues. Doesn't work. And it's not like I don't know what racism is. I was born in 1968. I was born 2 days after Dr. Martin Luther King died. I grew up in the 1970s, okay, when America was trying to adjust to the civil rights movement and all the changes, and it worked. And we had a huge change in America. And in the 1980s and going into the 1990s, things improved. America was massively better. And there is no better example of that than the fact that America elected President Barack Obama twice. Yes, we have improved America. No, America is not intrinsically at its core a racist nation. That is not true. The people of America are not intrinsically racist. They are not, whoa, they had a car accident. They are not intrinsically racist. That's not true. That's a political agenda. That's people who are trying to divide you so that they can take advantage of you. That's what I believe. Now, you may not agree, and that's perfectly fine. But I do believe that. Let me tell you about this racial justice deliberation that is going on at SUNY Broome today, May 3rd, starting at 3 o'clock. What are they doing today? Well, to be very honest, they're using your tax dollars to make sure that every student that shows up at the event, that they do only one thing, that they learn how to be essentially a racist. That they're going to be more divisive based on race and color. I know this because I've seen the program. I've seen exactly what they're going to tell students. And I've warned them that this is not in the best interest of Broome County, of any of the people in Broome County, or in anyone in New York State or the United States for that matter. I told them this. And you know what those academics said? Well, you just don't understand. You don't understand being black in America. You don't understand what it is to deal with racism. You don't understand because you just don't get it. Well, guess what? I'm an educated man. I grew up in America. I think I have a pretty good education and 54 years of life experience. Yeah, I do understand. And what I understand is that America isn't racist, and that it's wrong to teach kids to become racist. Dr. Martin Luther King would be appalled today if he saw what they are doing at SUNY Broome and across this country and what they are teaching our children. He would be appalled, and he should be, and we all should be. And if it takes one black man, one black Puerto Rican standing up for our rights, then that's what I'm going to do, because I will do this to help our nation. This racial deliberation, let me explain what I mean. The thing that they're trying to convince students at SUNY Broome right now. They're using your tax dollars to teach them this idea. There is no other idea that's being presented today. These students are being told one thing and one thing alone. If you're white, that you're evil. If you're black, Hispanic, if you're a minority, well, then you're a victim. And these are things that are true by birth. You don't get to change it. And that's what they're teaching you. And only because of the elites, only because of a specific political group, do you have any chance of having anything happen in your life. Really? That's not America. That's a dictatorship. That's not true. We know this. We see this. We have examples of this. I mean, Herman Cain, Condoleezza Rice. How many other people? General Powell. How many people do you want to put at? Look at Jay-Z, Tiger Woods. Whether it's in entertainment, in politics, in law, the fact is they are not correct. We see this in every step of our lives, especially now in the 2000s. We know this isn't true. But that's what they're teaching our kids. And they're not letting them hear any other voice. The only thing that these kids are being taught in this program today at SUNY Broome, a state university of New York State, that every single New York resident is paying taxes to be able to provide this. Every single one of them are being taught there is no other voice. The only thing, you walk into that program and the first thing they tell you is America is systemically racist, that it is intrinsically racist. That is a lie. That is not, Dr. Martin Luther King would never agree with that. And he didn't die because America is intrinsically racist today in 2022. He fought to make sure that it wouldn't be racist in 2022. And guess what? It isn't. We have kids who are in interracial marriages. They date all across this nation. No one blinks an eye. We have people in every part of our government, every part of our daily lives that we see all over social media, all over the news media. They're not being racially biased. Don Lemon, great example. Don Lemon, he wants to talk about racial injustice. Don Lemon, how many millions do you make a year as a black gay man? You are an example that we can succeed in America, that there isn't this racial barrier holding people down. It's just not true. No one is guaranteed success, and some of us will be more successful than others. That is true. But that's not racial bias. That means you're good or you're not good at what you do. Sometimes life just doesn't work that way. That's fine. But to blame it on someone else because of the color of their skin, to have teachers apologize, to have students apologize because of the color of skin that they were born with. Imagine that we had to go to school and every student, every black student, every Hispanic student, every Asian student, every Native American student had to apologize because they were born of a different color, because they were born in an area that may or may not have more white people or more minorities. Would you say that's a good idea? Would you say, oh yes, that's what we need to do? We need to have all the black students apologize for being born black. No, you wouldn't. Then why do we demand that of white students? Why do we demand that of any American? It is unfair, it is unjust, and it is unreal. And I will protest that. This racial deliberation has absolutely nothing that is evidence of what they are saying. There is no proof. There's a lot of accusations. There's a lot of allegations. They blame things on white people. They blame things on the system, but they have no proof. I know. I've seen the program. I've seen the education materials. They don't have a single document that comes from anyone who isn't part of the progressive left. You don't have to believe me. Ask SUNY Broome itself. Ask them about the materials in the program. I've already seen them. Not one item from anyone who isn't a progressive, not one word from anyone who doesn't already agree that white people are evil and black people are victims, as well as Hispanics and women. That's not a deliberation. That's not a discussion. That's not learning. That's an indoctrination. That's how you brainwash people. And we have to speak up about that and say, no, that's wrong. And our tax dollars should not be used to do that. And whether it's one person standing up and saying it or hundreds doesn't matter. Because the truth is the truth. You know, it's very difficult to be one person standing up and saying, this is wrong. And you know what? The first person in the 1950s, 1960s that stood up and said the civil rights movement is important. The first person who stood out there by themselves, walking down the street. You know what? They must have been terrified. But it was the right thing to do. And they did it, and it helped. Today, we have classrooms and we have social media that are cheering on, destroying everything that was done during the 1960s, during the civil rights movement. They want to destroy it all. In fact, one of the founders of critical race theory, Professor Bell, has written and spoken publicly saying that Dr. Martin Luther King was wrong. that we did the wrong thing by trying to integrate America. We did the wrong thing by trying to make sure America is equal and fair for everyone. That's what they're teaching students today at SUNY Broome, right now. And they're using your tax dollars to do it. Do you think that's the right thing? I don't. And that's why I'm standing in front of SUNY Broome right now, and I am protesting. I disagree. And I gotta tell you, SUNY Broome was terrified that I was going to do this. I don't know what they thought I was going to do. I don't know what they thought was going to happen. Because when I first mentioned to SUNY Broome that what they were doing was racist, the first reaction that SUNY Broome had, they went and they said, well, we're going to call the police on you. I said, what? Why are you going to call the police? Why would you call the police on me? I said, I'm going to peacefully protest, which I am doing. They didn't even know who was going to be there. They didn't know what I was going to say. They didn't know what I was going to do. This was a month ago. And the very first words out of their mouth was, oh my God, you're going to protest? We need to call the police. 1 week ago, that's exactly what they did. They called the police on me. They had the campus police of SUNY Broome contact me because they were afraid. I don't know, maybe they thought I was like BLM. Maybe they thought I was like Antifa or Progressive Leaders of Tomorrow, that I was going to try and have a riot, that I was going to try and burn down the university. No! Because I believe in peaceful protest. That's my right as an American, the First Amendment. I don't need to burn anything down. I just need to speak. Something that's very important in being, well, cut away from us all as we go forward. We're seeing that on Twitter right now. Oh no, free speech. Oh my God. You can't let Elon Musk have free speech. Twitter can't have free speech. Don't believe me. Look at Twitter. Look at the comments. They're terrified of that. You know what? They're terrified of it at SUNY Broome as well. Faculty members at SUNY Broome also are terrified of free speech, of having even one black man, one old 54-year-old black Hispanic stand up with a sign in front of their university. They're terrified of it and had to call the police to say, oh my God, what is he going to do? To try and scare me, to try and silence me. Didn't work. Did not work. Here I am. To that Karen, and I know exactly who did this, so I can call you out by name if you'd like. But to the professor who did that, I'm really, really sad for you. I feel really bad for you, Professor, that your only response, and the first response you made in a year of me arguing about this, telling you that this was a bad idea, that this was racially divisive, that this would hurt the community. The only answer you gave me in a year is, I'm going to call the police on you. I'm going to try and silence you. I feel sad for you that that was the only response you could think of. The only answer that you could come up with. I'm not angry, I'm sad. You should know better. You should be more educated than that. That's why you're a professor, right? You're supposed to be more educated than that. And you're supposed to be able to teach our students better than that. That isn't the case. So I'm here. And yes, I did speak to the SUNY Broome campus police. And they're perfectly fine with me being here. There is no threat of violence, and they know it. And they have no problem with me exercising my First Amendment rights. And they will not stop me from doing so. So I am here. And there may be others. I know some people said on Facebook that they would come out. And I know people are working. It's the middle of the day on a Tuesday. I don't expect necessarily anyone else is going to come out. But I can and I am. I understand the economy is horrible. It's a difficult time. We need to buy extra food because prices are going up. There is going to be a food shortage. I get it. People need to pay their bills and take care of their kids. I understand. I get it. So whether anyone shows up or no one shows up, I will be here because it's important. because it's important to our community that people understand racism should never be accepted. And just because it's a college professor that's spouting the racism, just because it's popular on Twitter and some social media, doesn't mean that racism should be introduced into our lives in America, or that we should export it to the United Kingdom, to France, and the rest of the world. Critical race theory is racism, and it is wrong. And we should stop it before it gets to our kids, before they learn this, before we go backwards in time to the 1950s. Because that's where critical race theory leads. That's where these racial deliberations lead us. It takes us back to the 1950s. It takes us back to racism, to Jim Crow. Oh, but it's different this time, they will tell you, because it's against white people. Still racism. It's still the same evil, vile racism. I don't care who it's targeting. Just because white people are the bad guys today instead of black people being the bad guys in the 1950s, it's still racism. It's still bad. Now, you may disagree with me. You may say, oh, Mike, but you just don't get it. Okay, you know what? This social experiment has been going on for, what, 3, 4, 5 years now? And it has not improved race relations in any city in America. Show me the data. Not one city has been improved. Not one state has been improved. It hasn't improved people's lives. It's made them worse. We can actually see more violence has been taking place, not less, because this is wrong. And we need to stand up against this and say, stop this. Stop using our kids, the next generation of America, as some kind of social experiment. Let's stop going backwards in time, back towards the 1950s and racism. Let's stop that. And let's not use our taxpayer dollars to try and teach children that. It's wrong. It's wrong, and they know it, and we need to stand up to it. And it doesn't matter how, you know what, it doesn't take a lot of people to say promoting racism is a bad idea. It just takes one person to say we shouldn't promote racism. And then it just takes everyone else to look at it and go, you're right. So you don't have to necessarily come down. I would love it. I'd love to be not the only one down here. I'm going to be here till 4:30, maybe 5 o'clock. I'd love to have other people around me, maybe even politicians. But more importantly, I want to hear you just tell the news media, tell SUNY Broome, tell your politicians, and most importantly, tell your kids, racism is wrong. Whether it's racism against white people, or it's racism against black people, or Hispanics, or Indians, Muslims, women, racism in any form is wrong. Tell them that. And show them this video. And let them know they're not the only ones. You are not alone. I may stand here by myself, but I am not alone. There are people who are watching this video, who will share this video. There are people who have made comments on these videos, talking about this across the nation. Not everyone can make it in the middle of the day on a Tuesday. I understand that. That doesn't mean I'm alone. It just means that I'm the only one who can be here today, that I can afford it, that I can take the time. But don't believe that you're alone. You're not the only one. You're not the only one who sees the racism and says, no, we do not accept racism in our community. Not in the southern tier of New York, not in this county of Broome, not in the city of Binghamton, not in New York State, not in the United States of America. And what are they going to say to you? Oh, you're a bad person. Yes, I'm a bad person because I believe people should be able to peacefully protest. I'm a bad person because I'm willing to speak my mind as an American citizen has the right to do. I'm such a bad person for saying that racism is bad, no matter who it targets. Because I guarantee you, today they may target white people, and tomorrow they'll target black people, or Hispanics, or women, or the gay, or transgender. Once you start down the path of trying to decide who's guilty of just being born, that never ends. It never gets better. It's always wrong. And we have seen that throughout history over and over and over again. And you would think professors at a state university paid for by taxpayer dollars would have read the history and know this. But it seems they don't. It seems they didn't care. Why don't they care? I don't know. Is it because of politics, because of power, because of a union? Maybe they're afraid to speak up? I don't know. But I can tell you, I will speak up. I'm not afraid. What are they going to do? They already tried to get the police to scare me. Not because the police were trying to stop me, but because they sicked the police on me, thinking I would back down, that I would get scared, because they said, hey, you have to talk to a police officer about standing outside in front of SUNY Broome, exercising your First Amendment rights. Guess what? I'm not scared of that. I'm not scared of them. Neither should you. Alright folks, so I'm here, and I'm going to come back a little bit later and do another video, talk with you a little bit more. But this is about our freedom. This is about our future of our nation. This is about ending racism that they're trying to bring back. And this racial deliberation that is only meant to railroad children and students into believing that one race is better than another. We have to stop this, folks. We really do. Look, I'm down here. I'm going to be here until 4:30. I'm right in front of the front entrance. Come on down. Share your voice. Let me know that you agree. I'd appreciate your support. But I'll be back in a little bit.